We are now live. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the closing ceremony of the 53rd AFRAA Annual General Assembly. I wish to hand over the floor to the President of the Association.
Thank you, Maureen. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and welcome to our closing ceremony after very, very fruitful discussions on presentations and panels. So before we proceed, I would like to make announcements relating to election of representatives of the AFRAA organs and offices. Let's start by the members of the Executive Committee. The General Assembly has elected and confirmed the following new members of the Executive Committee. Northern Region, Egyptair until AGA 56. Eastern Region, Kenya Airways until AGA 56. Eastern Region, again, Air Tanzania until AGA 56 as well. The General Assembly has elected and confirmed the following officers of the Association to serve up to the end of the 54th Annual General Assembly. Chairman of the Executive Committee, Congo Airways. First Vice Chairman, Rwandair. Second Vice Chairman, Mauritania Airlines. President and host of the 54th AGA, CEO of Air Senegal. Please join me in congratulating all the elected officers and members of the Executive Committee. Now, for the announcement of the final resolutions, I will give the floor to the distinguished Secretary General, Mr. Abderrahman Berte. Over to you. Your mic, please. You are mute.
Thank you, President. Please, Maureen, can you show the slides on the resolutions? Please, next slide. Yes, okay, the Assembly has approved the statement of account and auditor's report for the year ended December 31st, 2020. And also the Assembly has approved the budget for next year, 2022. Next slide, please. The Assembly's adopted some resolutions on the industry affairs. The first one is regarding the safe reopening of borders. The resolution is calling for a safe reopening of borders in a harmonized manner, which is critical for the efficient restart of African aviation. The resolution is urging African government to remove border restrictions and open their market to restart the industry. Another resolution is about the financial support to African Airlines. As you know, we have been lobbying for that since 2020. And we recognize the importance of financial support to the recovery of the air transport industry. So far, we have seen very little support to airlines. So the resolution is calling upon African government to extend the much needed financial support and relief to African Airlines and the African aviation industry at large. Next, please. The last resolution is about sustainability of airlines. We recognize the importance of addressing the sustainability and competitiveness of Africa's air transport because the industry is facing a lot of challenges, and we need to put together all stakeholders as a transformation opportunity for the economic development of air transport in Africa. AFRAA Secretariat will convene a workshop under a lab approach by the end of March 2022 with African Union Commission African Civil Aviation Commission, and the African Aviation Industry Group. Thank you, Mr. President. This was the resolution adopted during this assembly.
Thank you, SG. So now we can proceed for the acknowledgements of AFRAA partners. The floor is to you, Mr. SG.
Yes, I will combine with my closing remarks. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for availing time to connect to this assembly, the 53rd one. Your presence and contributions as delegates, speakers, moderators, exhibitors have enabled this assembly to be successful. I want to express our profound gratitude to TAG Angola, the host airline, president of this assembly. My special thanks to our sponsor, Boeing, whose support is much appreciated. Our sincere appreciation and gratitude go to our partners for their support of our programs and actions that serve the aviation industry in Africa. Thanks to the media present at this assembly, you play a critical role in ensuring our messages reach all the relevant stakeholders and customers. I want to express my appreciation for the hard work and tireless effort by the AFRAA team to ensure this virtual AGA is a success. Our program director has done a fantastic job ensuring that the proceedings proceed smoothly. Thank you, Ms. Maureen Kahonge. I look forward to meeting you all at the next annual General Assembly in the Republic of Senegal, kindly hosted by Air Senegal. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim Khan, for your kind invitation. Once again, thank you all and keep safe. Over to you, President.
Thank you, SG. Now, I will invite the CEO of Air Senegal, Mr. Ibrahim Khan, for the presentation speech.
Hello, excuse me, technical team, please retake the video. We need to enable the sound. Thank you.
Monsieur le Président de l'AFRAA, Monsieur le Secrétaire Général, chers délégués, chers partenaires, c'est un honneur pour Air Sénégal et pour moi-même d'avoir été choisi pour accueillir la 54e Assemblée Générale de notre association prévue en novembre 2022. Comme vous le savez tous, Air Sénégal est une des plus jeunes compagnies membres de notre association. Nous avons débuté notre exploitation en 2018 et traversons cette crise de la COVID-19 avec un soutien fort de l'État du Sénégal et opérons aujourd'hui un réseau de 21 destinations sur l'Afrique, l'Europe et les Amériques avec une flotte d'avions mono et bicouloirs. Mesdames, Messieurs, chers délégués, encore une fois, nous le savons tous, nous l'espérons tous, l'année 2022 sera celle des défis liés à la convalescence de notre industrie, avec les risques et difficultés qui y sont liés. Durant de tels moments, Air Sénégal fidèle à notre culture de l'hospitalité, où Teranga souhaite placer la présidence de l'AFRAA sous le signe de la convivialité entre dirigeants de compagnies africaines. Nous sommes convaincus que les solutions à nos défis viendront d'échanges fraternels, conviviaux et sans barrière entre équipes dirigeantes dans le cadre de la mise en œuvre de partenariats forts. Je vous remercie.
Merci Air Sénégal, merci Monsieur Ibrahim Khan. Thank you Air Sénégal and thank you Mr. Ibrahim Khan. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it was a great pleasure and honor to host the last AFRAA Annual General Assembly. This special AGA will remain for a long time in our minds, not only for its format, mainly due to the pertinent presentations and interventions we have had during these 2 days. Successfully, we have addressed key subjects which aim to improve in general the performance of the aviation sector in our continent. On behalf of TAG, Angola Airlines, I would like to thank you all for attending this special AGA. My particular word of appreciation to you, Mr. SG, and all AFRAA staff for organizing this AGA and your continuous mission in supporting the African carriers. Next year, 2022, I'm optimistic that we will overcome the current struggles, in which I look forward to seeing you in Dakar for the 54th AGA. Thank you very much, and muito obrigado. Now we'll proceed with the press conference. So I change over to the program director, Maureen, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President, for the conclusion of the 53rd AFRAA Annual General Assembly. Thank you to all our participants and to members of the fourth estate who have been with us for the last couple of days and have followed keenly the proceedings of the Assembly. We will be doing a swift changeover to the press conference. Participants and the delegates who are keen to leave at their own freedom, we will now be doing the press conference. And this is not limited only to our media participants. We have the session open to all delegates who wish to join us. I will make a few remarks at the beginning, and then I will give the floor to Mr. Abderrahman Berthe. And we have with us the President, Mr. Rui Carrera, who, if we have any questions, he will be on the line and will take your questions. We will be taking the questions through the chat. For those who are connected on the Zoom link that has been shared, please post your questions on the chat. The questions can be posted either in French or in English. For those who are joining us from the conference platform side, please use the Q&A tab to send us your questions. The duration of the press conference is expected to be not more than 1 hour. We shall conclude earlier, depending on how the flow of the session shall continue. We now start off the press conference. AFRAA, yes, I'll just make a few remarks and then I hand over to the SG. Is that Is that in order, SG?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, fine. The AFRAA Annual General Assembly is the premier gathering of African Airlines CEO and high-level aviation executives in Africa and across the globe. Annually, leaders and decision makers convene at the AFRAA AGA to take stock of the aviation developments and plan the future. The 53rd AFRAA AGA, which has just concluded, has also made a number of resolutions urging airlines, governments, and other stakeholders to act in concert to advance the cause of African aviation. The Secretary General shall make highlight of these resolutions, and we are invited to ask questions where we need to get any further clarification on the resolutions. The event was attended by over 400 registered participants ranging from leaders, CEOs of African Airlines, and also the main industry associations that AFRAA collaborates with. This includes IATA, ALTA, AFCAC, and TIACA. We had participants joining us from a total of 51 countries across the globe. I now wish to hand over to Mr. Berthet, who will make his highlight of the assembly, and then we shall open the floor to questions from the participants. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Berthet.
Thank you, Maureen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome you to this virtual press conference at the end of our 53rd General Assembly. My name is Abderrahman Berthet. I'm the Secretary General of AFRAA. Me and our President, Mr. Rui Carreira, will have the pleasure to answer your questions today. We have just closed this assembly, which was again this year on a virtual format because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The theme of the assembly was Flight Path to Africa's Resilient Travel Ecosystem. We recorded more than 400 delegates from more than 51 countries around the world for this event. On the assembly program, we had keynote remarks from high-level industry speakers, keynote interviews, panel discussions, presentations on various subjects of interest for our industry. The Assembly adopted resolutions on 3 important issues related to safe reopening of borders. We consider that travel restrictions are hindering the restart of our industry. Restrictions, we have many restrictions not based on actual risk assessment. And also the ICAO Carter recommendations are not fully implemented in all countries in Africa. And furthermore, the rollout of vaccines is very slow on the continent. And also we are seeing in some countries, high cost of PCR tests. So this resolution is a call upon government to reopen the borders and to facilitate the restart of our industry. A second resolution is about the financial support to African airlines. As you all know, since the beginning of the pandemic, the airlines were put in a very difficult situation. In May, June 2020, the African Union Commission set up a high-level task force. AFRAA was part of it. One of the recommendations was to put in place $25 billion support to aviation in Africa. Since this recommendation, stakeholders, AFRAA, partner organizations have been appealing on government and development and financial institutions to support the aviation industry. So far, we have seen very little results. This recommendation is again appealing on government and development financial institutions to support the aviation industry. And AFRAA will continue, of course, lobbying in this area. A third recommendation is about attaining sustainability of African airlines. Sustainability has been for long a challenge for African airlines because we have a lot of challenges to face in this industry. So to resolve these challenges, it's very important to have all stakeholders involved in finding the better solutions for the industry. AFRAA took the initiative to organize a laboratory with all stakeholders to think about the workable solutions for the sustainability of airlines in Africa. The lab will take place before the end of first quarter 2022. And in this, AFRAA will be organizing with the African Union Commission, the African Civil Aviation Commission, and the African Aviation Industry Group. So these are the three key resolutions adopted by this Assembly. Also, the Assembly has elected new officers of the association. The president and host of the next Assembly will be Air Senegal. If you have seen the closing ceremony, the president made the announcement. The next AGA will be in November 2022 in Senegal. The new chairman of the executive committee is Congo Airways. A press release with more details information will be published today by AFRAA. I wish to thank you for your work to spotlight what our association is doing. And now I am, of course, ready with the president of the Assembly to answer any question we may have. Over to you, Maureen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Berthet, for your remarks. And we have the questions have started coming in. Just before we proceed to the question, to check with AFRAA President, who is on the call, would you wish to make any remarks before we take the questions?
No, I'm okay. We can proceed, Maureen.
Okay, thank you very much. The first question is from Dr. Costas Iatru, and Costas asks, how important is the cooperation with other regional and international organizations?
So this is for me, or I take it, or the president?
Yeah, this one most likely is directed to AFRAA.
Okay, thank you very much. The cooperation with other organizations is, of course, very critical for AFRAA. Since 2 years, we have been trying and to put in place framework of cooperations with partner organizations. We have signed a lot of memorandum of understanding. The first one we signed when I took this office was in June 2018 with IATA. And more recently, this year we have signed with SCI Africa because we think airlines and airports need to work together. And also we have signed one with World Tourism Organization this year. Because with the COVID-19, we have seen that travel and tourism sectors have been the most impacted, and it was very important to have a memorandum of understanding and an action plan with World Tourism Organization. And recently we have signed also with ALTA. ALTA is a similar airlines organization in Latin and Caribbean region. It was very important for AFRAA to sign the MOU with this organization. I attended their leaders forum in October in Bogota. And why? Because the two organizations have similar kind of challenges and issues. So it's very important to benchmark and to try to work together. We are also, of course, in contact with other organizations like the African Union and also the African Civil Aviation Commission. The African Civil Aviation Commission being the regroupment of all civil aviation authorities in Africa, it's very important for us to be in contact with AFCAC, and also AFCAC is the executing agency of the Yamoussoukro decision. And as you know, SATAM, the single air transport market, is something very important for our industry. And AFCAC is the agency leading the implementation of the SATAM and leading the Joint Prioritized Action Plan. AFRAA is part of the Joint Prioritized Action Plan. We have an annual meeting for that, and AFRAA also is delivering some actions under this Joint Prioritized Action Plan. We will continue next year under our strategic plan, because cooperation with other organizations is also part of AFRAA's 5-year strategic plan. We'll continue, of course, to put in place framework of discussions and cooperations with all organizations involved in the aviation sector in Africa. Thank you. Over to you, Maureen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Berthe. Another leading question from your response that you have given regarding the signing of the MOUs by AFRAA with other entities. The question is from John Howell. He asks, what are the specific deliverables of the MOU with ACI Africa? And continuing with the question, he continues to ask, are you working together on airport charges, as IATA have have voiced their concerns about this rising and affecting the recovery?
Thank you, Maureen. Regarding the deliverable from the memorandum we have signed with ACI Africa, the memorandum has been signed this year. I think it's 3 or 4 months ago. We are working on an action plan. It will be an action plan for next year. And there are some common subjects because passengers are not customers of airports. It's also airlines customers. So we have common customers. And when you take, for example, the CART recommendations, it's applied to airports, to authorities, and also to airlines. There are many subjects where we need to work together in order to put in place for these common passengers the seamless solutions. And we think that this MOU with ACI Africa will be very fruitful. Regarding the airport charges, in fact, I don't want just to talk about airport charges. In general, I want to talk about taxes and charges, because I don't want just to identify airport like being the problem. The ICOTS environment is broader. It concerns, as I said, that's why we took a resolution on sustainability. I prefer to talk about sustainability. Taxes, charges is part of the sustainability of this industry. That's why we have resolved to organize this workshop next year. All stakeholders will be together to think about the challenges and what kind of solutions we can work out. Of course, the airport will be part of the workshop. Also, the air navigation services will be part, and also authorities, because we have some taxes which are from government also. So we really think it's good to have this workshop, because for many years you have been talking the same things, and we really need to sit and to find the best solution for all stakeholders for the benefit of our industry. Thank you. Over to you, Maury. Maybe the president want to add something on this?
That's okay. I just want to add that this is a fight that you cannot run alone. That's why the cooperation is very important with all stakeholders in the aviation. We all have the responsibility not to let the airlines die. That's why this cooperation and the contribution of also the government to support the airlines running is very important. I just want to add to your remarks, SG.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, SG. Closely linked to the question that has been answered, touching on collaboration, the next question is from Francis Malinga, who asks, most African airlines are members of the 3 global alliances. What measures is the African Airlines Association pursuing to have similar arrangements that can bring all African carriers have an African Airlines Alliance?
Thank you for this question. I'll start to say that if I shared what you said, most of African airlines being part of 3 global alliances, this is not true. Only a few African airlines are part of global alliances, because there are such conditions to be part of these alliances that many African airlines are not today eligible to be part of these alliances. At AFRAA, we are putting in place, we talk about cooperation, and we are also putting in place route network coordination. We have a route network coordination committee where we encourage our members to sign interline agreement, code shares, and also AFRAA has put in place a lot of new joint projects in view to reduce costs for our member airlines, to share also capacities. And we have organized also in September a workshop on consolidation, because we think also that consolidation of the sector in Africa will happen one day, because we have a multiplicity of airlines on the continent. And Alliance will be, for me, the last part of all this work we have started to do. It will not happen in one day. And also we need to take advantage of these global alliances. What is doing well and can be replicated to the African continent, because our market is different. And also we need to find how we can have an alliance much more adapted to the context of African operations. So to conclude, I will say that only few African airlines are members of global alliances, and AFRAA is working on several projects, and we think that at the end of this different project, we will have more cooperation, more coordination, and then it will be easiest to put in place an alliance. And also, we have seen recently the signing of a partnership between two of our members, Kenya Airways and South African Airlines. We also encourage this kind of initiatives between our members, which at the end of the day will conduct us to have a sort of African alliance. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, SG, and I hope that adequately answers Francis. The next question is from Victoria Morse, and she asks, this question is directed to USG. Please, can you give an update on the Brown Condor MRO cooperation? This is the UTD Aviation.
Yes, thank you, Victoria, for this question. This is a very specific and technical question. We have a memorandum of agreement with UTD, which is based in the United States. There are two parts of it, on MRO and also excess spare parts selling. So it's, in general, speaking, it's to offer our African MROs the possibility to have markets opportunities coming from other regions out of Africa. So we have signed the MOU with UTD. We are also in contact of the main MROs in Africa. Of course, there are some conditions to meet to be able to work on as an MRO for some non-African operators. That's what I can say. I will not want to go deep in details on this project. Over to you, Maureen.
Thank you very much, SG. I hope this adequately answers your question, Victoria. Next question we have is from John Howell. He asks, we make a distinction between taxes and charges, with 89% of airports in Africa being owned by governments. The revenue from both goes to the same place, that is the government. We are keen to make a distinction, but ultimately it is the same beneficiary. This is, I think, a follow-up question to the earlier one he asked regarding the AFRAA ACI MOU.
Thank you again for this question. We know for sure that taxes are going to government. I'm sorry, my phone is... we are sure that taxes are going to government. However, I don't agree with my friend John Howell about charges, because in many airports, they are run privately. Some are government, many are private or mixed. So we cannot say it's going to the same pocket. Again, this issue of taxes or charges, I think it's the second or third question during this press conference. It shows that the initiative of AFRAA to organize this sustainability workshop is welcome, because I think we are all passionate about it, and we know that we really need to find a way forward regarding taxes and charges. The workshop will be really the occasion to discuss these issues. Because when I talk about charges, on an airport, all the players are not government owned, of course. So for me, of course, taxes is going to charges, and for that, the ministries of finance need to be involved in the discussions. Of course, when you talk about taxes and charges, going most of the time to the national budget. Charges is something different. We need really to look in details on charges. Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you, SG, for your response. And moving on to the next question, AFRAA held a consolidation, airline consolidation workshop sometime in the last quarter. What were the actions, and what are the expected things that we are expected to see as pursuant to this workshop?
Thank you for this question. We organized a very successful workshop on consolidation with Kenya Airways and Lufthansa Consulting in September. And the workshop made so many recommendations. And we had a meeting with Kenya Airways around the recommendations and the actions AFRAA need to put in place. So there are a lot of actions coming. For some of the action, we'll need, of course, some funding, because it will involve some studies on the market and the type of business models and the type of consolidations which can be put in place in Africa. So we will work out this action plan. And of course, we will also reach out with other stakeholders and funding institutions to move forward on this consolidation. Over to you, Maureen.
Thank you, SG. And there is a question to TAG Angola Airlines. TAG Angola Airlines, before the corona pandemic, had partnerships with some of the African airlines, Kenya Airways, South African Airways, LAM Mozambique, Royal Maroc. And what are we expected to see post-COVID?
Okay, thank you for the question. Post-COVID, we have a broader view. Post-COVID has learned us that we have to find more markets beyond the markets we have used before. So TAG Angola Airlines is open to have partnership with other airlines in Africa and to expand his route network. And we are open to discuss. Of course, we will maintain the partnership that we have with those airlines mentioned. And we, of course, we are now looking for the market, how the market will react to the recovery in this period, that we cannot say we are in a post-COVID period, but I think that many airlines are resuming flights progressively. And of course, the market is reacting. The economies in Africa also are growing smoothly. New markets will appear, and the more partnerships between African airlines will of course happen. So we are open to all these partnerships to improve our revenues, to improve the connectivity between African countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the President. I don't see any further questions from the floor. And I think at this juncture, we could conclude, unless there's any other participants who wishes to send us their question. We can say we are closing, going in 3, going in 2, going in 1. We'll now be closing the Q&A session and gone. So I think we can now close the Q&A session. And at this point, do you have any final remarks before I can close the press conference?
For me?
Yes.
Maureen?
Yes, anything as a final word before I conclude the session?
Yes, just a few final words. It was a pleasure for me to be with the media for this press conference and to answer some of the questions. And I would just like to say at AFRAA, we are very open for communication with media. You have our contact at any time if you have any question, and we can contact us. And myself, the communication team, and Maureen will be very happy to answer your question. I just want to say this press conference is just to give you some remarks on what happened during our assembly. The work with the media for me will be over all time, in fact. So we remain available for you. Thank you very much again for your attendance. Maybe the president will want to give his final remark also. Thank you.
Thank you, SG. Before the president can give his parting shot, they say better late than never. There is, from the African Union Commission, a question to the president, and perhaps maybe it could be directed to the government of Angola, but we shall relay the question nevertheless. And the question is, can you tell us why Angola has not yet joined SATAM?
Well, I believe this is a very political question, but what I want to assure you that Angola is working hard, very hard, to meet the criteria so that their airlines can go through the SATAM. And we are, as an airline, also at TAG Angolan Airlines, we are also forcing the government to open this way so that you can very quickly to go in through SATAM and the Yamoussoukro decision. We now need it harder before than ever. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you. And do you have any parting shot, last message to our participants before I sign off?
No, just to thank you all and congratulate for the participation in this press conference and in general in our 53rd AGA that was hosted by TAG Angolan Airlines, and hope to see you next year in Senegal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all our participants and our fourth estate contacts. We will be sending the press release to email to your email addresses. All those who have registered for the AGA will receive it. In case of any request for interviews, please feel free to contact us. You can send an email to afra@afra.org, or you can send to my email address, mkahonge@afra.org. Thank you for being able to sit with us from yesterday when we started the event all the way to today's closing. There is a lot of rich content, and we appreciate those of us who are reaching out and sending us inquiries, and we keep our lines open. Any question or any further inquiries that you have, not just on the assembly, also on other industry developments, because we do a lot of communication. Every month we have a number of shows. There is the Sky Connect show where we have a guest on stage. We do appreciate our media participating in this show. We have the AFRAA industry briefing workshop every end of the month. There's a lot of events that we do have. We do encourage you to participate at these events, and anytime you wish to have an audience with AFRAA, our lines are open. Thank you very much. And at this juncture, I wish to inform you, those who would wish to participate at tomorrow's Aeropolitical Forum. We have a forum that will be taking place tomorrow. This is the African Aviation Industry Group Aeropolitical Forum, which is held after every annual assembly. And AFRAA is part of the African Airlines Industry Group. Other members include IATA, ASA, ACI Africa, Kanzo, Boeing, and Embraer. This forum will take place tomorrow, East African time at midday, and the link will be shared to all those who registered for the AGA. The program for the forum this year incorporates sessions that are being carefully chosen around robust discussion on the development of short, medium, and long-term activities aimed at complementing the ongoing initiatives in African aviation for the year 2022. At the Assembly, we have discussed a lot of bulk actions that need to be taken. So at the forum tomorrow, we'll be breaking this down and we'll be setting a roadmap on the deliverables by all these organizations that form part of the AAIG on how we can set the map for achieving these actions in 2022 and beyond. We welcome you. The forum is open to all participants in the aviation sector and beyond. And we do look forward to very concrete actions from tomorrow's discussion. Thank you. And from the AFRAA Secretariat, and on behalf of all our members, it's a warm goodbye, and let's keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye. Thank you.